Aloha and welcome. We're back today for another Galactic Astrology Soul mini reading, and today's reading is for Jane. My name is Taylor Norris, and I am a Holy Fire Reiki Master teacher, as well as a newly certified Quantum Soul Guidance Practitioner and Galactic Astrology Soul Reader. Thank you so much for being here today. So, what is Galactic Astrology? Well, it's all about answering our most fundamental existential and metaphysical questions, such as who am I? Why am I here? Where do I come from? Where am I going? What's my soul history? What are my earthly past lives, my galactic past lives? What is my soul origin, that first fractal from source, from God, from the divine? What are my soul gifts, my talents, my blessings? Who are my spirit guides? What kind of support do I have? What kind of miracles and magic can I bring in and welcome in consciously? How can I become more soul conscious, become more of who I truly am, grow as a soul, really be consciously unfolding my soul's intentions for this life? What challenges and opportunities am I working with in this life? And what kind of guidance do I have in terms of how to navigate as gracefully as possible those challenges and those opportunities to get the most out of this human experience? I've added here the infinity symbol because it really is infinite what we can access in these readings. Each reading is unique, and this is just a mini reading, so we're just scratching the surface of what you can get to know. A full reading is a whole deeper layer. In a full reading, we go into much greater depth, but I'm going to show you kind of the sort of things we look at in a galactic astrology soul reading. So let's go across time and space and dimension into the void, into the space, into the deepest, truest parts of who we really are, connecting soul to soul with our timeless, true nature. Allow the insights and intuitions, higher guidance, and field of beautiful Reiki light support, letting it surround us and guide us in this mini reading for Jane. Okay, the fundamentals of a quantum soul guidance galactic astrology soul reading. We look at the galactic charts as well as the natal astrological chart. There's an element of intuition throughout the whole process. There's also an element of healing. And today we're going to focus mainly on the natal astrology and the galactic charts with a little bit of intuition. And yes, Reiki is on, but this is just giving you a little taster of what these readings are all about. Okay, now here is Jane's basic galactic astrology report. Everybody can get one of these for free on galacticastrochart.com. You can get a basic report like this, and you can get a much more detailed report with the extended report. This particular report shows on the left-hand side all of Jane's important planets and points in her chart. What sign those planets and points are in is in that second middle column. And then on the right-hand side, we see the constellation alignments to each of those planets and points. These alignments show conjunctions and oppositions only. The sun in Virgo is conjunct one or more of the stars in the constellation Leo. The moon in Libra is either conjunct or opposite. In this case, it would be opposite the constellation Andromeda, and so on. The extended report, which we're not going to cover in this video, shows also the trines, the sextiles, and the squares for even more of those galactic connections. But looking at Jane's basic report here, whoa, we see a mega multi-galactic soul here. Okay, almost every single planet and point in her natal chart has a conjunct or opposite, a very strong alignment with a constellation or the galactic, which includes the galactic center, the supergalactic center, Shapley attractor, great attractor. So these massive black holes and basically cosmic anomalies that we've yet to really fully understand astronomically. And we're beginning to understand more and more astrologically the meaning. So how do you read this chart? Well, you could start with the Pluto line. That Pluto in Libra is connected to Virgo and Buddha's constellation. This would be a very ancient soul origin connection. Neptune and Uranus are also outer planets. Pluto is the farthest out. Neptune and Uranus a bit closer, but still far out. These would have been in Jane's distant past. She has connections to Orion and the Galactic, as well as the Pleiades. Then we look at the social planets, Saturn and Jupiter, for ancient past lives, but more recent than the ones I just mentioned. So she's got soul connections to constellation Cetus, as well as the galactic. We're seeing the galactic repeated with both that Neptune and that Jupiter. So there's a strong soul resonance here with a distant part, a very ancient part of her soul history connected to the galactic, and a slightly more recent part of her soul history is again connected to the galactic. The personal planets, Mars, Venus, and Mercury, tell us about even more recent past lives. And her Mars is aligned with Andromeda. So there would be a strong soul connection fairly recently to Andromeda constellation. Then we see her midheaven, South Node, and North Node are all aligned to Canis Major. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But this is a very highly relevant to this life, past life connection. So the themes in these past lives linked to Canis Major would be greatly influencing Jane's decision to even incarnate in the first place, her soul intentions and her soul purpose in this life. So we will go into this a little bit more in a moment. The sun, moon, and ascendant, those are like very, very personal parts of our chart. And they tell us, the sun and moon, about very recent lifetimes, our most recent lifetimes, and more about paternal soul connections and maternal soul connections. And through the moon, she's connected to Andromeda. And through the sun, she's connected to Leo constellation. And we see she's got even further alignments if we look back down at Lilith, Chiron, and part of Fortune, as well as Vertex. These are all, well, Chiron is an asteroid, an orbiting body. Lilith, part of Fortune, and Vertex are all calculated points, but these are very significant in the chart. And those all have strong alignments too. So Jane also has important soul connections to Canis Major. Again, that's highlighting again the North Node, South Node, and Midheaven are all connected to Canis Major. Her sole purpose connected to Canis Major star system, as well as Lilith, the point in our chart that's showing us the cosmic dark feminine. Usually quite a lot of shadow we're having to transmute, a lot of difficult energy we're having to work through in order to access more of our full power, our divine feminine inner authority. We see more alignments there to Centaurus, Hyades, and again, we're seeing Virgo and Buddhas, which is very cool. The vertex align with Virgo and Buddhas as well as Pluto. So the Pluto alignment to Virgo and Buddhas suggests a soul origin connected to Virgo and Buddha's constellation. And then the vertex is a calculated point in our chart that's a very faded point. This is a point in the chart that's like about destiny, destined relationships, destined moments in our life, very karmic moments, things that we can't plan, we can't control, often don't see them coming. You know, it has to do with other people making choices, other people coming into our life, things we really cannot control. That soul origin and this point of fate are also aligned. So very, very interesting chart. Jane, I'm so glad you volunteered for this because, oh my goodness, your chart, this is very active. And what we're going to talk about in this mini reading is like such a tiny bit, but I would love to do a full reading for you because there is so much richness here. There's so much depth. It's absolutely incredible. Like my chart doesn't look like this. This is wild. Okay. This is wild, Jane. Glad you're here. And this might be more of a familiar chart for those who are familiar with astrology. For total newbies, this also looks pretty strange, and that's okay. We have her astrological natal chart here, and we see that her ascendant, that arrow that's pointing to AC, is at 9 degrees and 39 minutes of the zodiac sign Libra. Now, this is the constellation on the horizon that was rising the exact moment that Jane was born. Now, Jane was a little bit unsure of her birth time. So if she got her birth time correct, then this is correct. If it's a little bit off, then that would change the houses of the chart, the life areas, the areas of the pie pieces of the chart. You see there's somewhat triangular pieces, the chart divided into 12. Those are the houses because the degree of the ascendant changes every 4 minutes. So that's why the accurate birth time is really helpful. But we're going with this. This is what we got for today. Libra rising 9 degrees, 39 minutes. This is also echoed by Moon in Libra, okay, in the first house. Again, it would be first house if the birth time is correct. Even if her ascendant is not Libra, the moon is in Libra. So that tells us that Libra is very important. And look at all those points she has in Libra. She's got Saturn in Libra, Pluto in Libra, Moon in Libra, and Jupiter is part of that stellium, but it's in Scorpio. So Libra energy, definitely very important for Jane. What is Libra? Libra is relationships. Whereas Aries is, I know who I am. Libra is, let's come together with others. Let's be in relationship. It's all kinds of relationships. And whereas Aries can be a bit go, 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 and maybe even aggressive. Libra is much more considerate. It's an air sign. It's mental, intelligent. It seeks harmony, justice, peace, equality, liberty. It's really, really beautiful energy. It's about beauty. Libra is ruled by the planet Venus. So that gives you a sense of it's an expression of Venus. It's very intelligent. That's airy. So communication, thinking, clear mentation, as that applies in the sphere of all your different relationships. So that's the moon sign. And moon sign being in the first house, again, if you have the birth time, that's a strong moon. That's like you feel your feelings, they're definitely a part of your awareness, especially with that conjunct Pluto. This could be very intense emotionality that you're working with here. Lots of compassion and love to you. You've also got lots of divine support, which we'll talk about shortly. Okay, if you look up to the arrow in the top left corner, that is pointing to that beautiful sun in the sign of Virgo, conjunct royal star Regulus. And we'll talk about that more in a moment. But sun in Virgo in the 11th house, again, if you got the birth time correct, sun in Virgo wants to be of service. Sun in Virgo wants to heal. Sun in Virgo can be overly perfectionistic and critical and nitpicky, but is really good with details, is really good with ordering reality, organizing reality, cleaning, purifying. In the 11th house, if that birth time is correct, the 11th house is all about community. Your global family, your global networks, your soul connections in this life. That sense where you feel like you belong. Community is very, very important to you. And this is a sun in Virgo in the 11th house is very much like a humanitarian soul. This is someone who wants to heal their community. And that is really beautiful. That's a little bit about the natal chart. Again, there's way more here. We'll just start there. Soul origin. So this is super cool, Jane. Oh my gosh. We look to Pluto, the planet Pluto, the farthest out planet in our solar system, classified as a dwarf planet. That doesn't make it any less important. Pluto is in the sign of Libra, and we see in the bottom left corner, it is conjunct Virgo Spica, and it's also in a tighter conjunction, smaller orb to Buddhist constellation Arcturus. Release angelic music now. This is so beautiful. This is so beautiful. This is, you're an Arcturian soul. You're an Arcturian soul. That first fragment from source, from God, from the divine that desired to have a more individualized, a more separate experience was with the Arcturians. And you see a picture of the Arcturians right next to me on the left-hand side. They're very high frequency light beings. Etheric beings don't really have form, are in a collective consciousness with one another, completely unity consciousness, no problem. And often when they appear to people, they might have somewhat of a form, but in their state, they are definitely light beings of very high consciousness, 11th density, 11th dimension, 11th heaven and beyond, very, very high conscious, loving energy, like heart-based, energy. So I'm hoping you can tune into this Arcturian frequency in your heart, just opening your heart to this pure love of Arcturus. Stunning. So in the upper right-hand corner, I am showing this is Urania's mirror, her depiction of Buddha's constellation. And I've got the Arcturus star drawn in with that golden star right at his knee. So that is where Arcturus star is located, at the knee. And as Arcturus is also opposite that vertex that we talked about, the faded point in the chart, this would also bring in a very karmic, faded types of relationships for you with these beings and with humans who are connected to these beings and this higher consciousness of Arcturus. Energy healers, energy healing. Reiki is very linked to Arcturus. I'm a Reiki master. I'm giving you this reading. This is kind of a fated connection. You definitely needed to hear this right now, apparently, to be aware of this origin of your soul. And hopefully, as you become more aware of this connection, more and more of these like beautiful high frequency Arcturian souls just like find you and you find them if you haven't already found them. But my guess is you probably already have found some of them. But with this conscious awareness, it will be even smoother and easier for those very deep, high frequency relationships to come in for you and help you in your evolutionary journey, help you evolve with your soul intentions and make sure you're able to play out the highest possible expression of your soul intentions, your soul purpose for this life, which we'll talk about more now. So this is really interesting. The north node and the south node of the moon are both aligned to Canis Major, Sirius A. Now, the north node and the south node of the moon, they are also calculated points. They're not actual physical objects in space, but they have to do with where the moon is cutting the ecliptic, the orbital plane. In ancient astrology, it is said that south node has to do with our past lives. It's like the tail of the dragon. The north node of the moon is the head of the dragon, and it has to do with our soul intentions for this life. Like, we're really comfortable with the energy of the south node, but the energy of the north node is newer to us. It's a bit unfamiliar. It may not really show up in our lives until a bit later on. And that's okay. It's meant to be a lifetime process where we are moving toward the energy of that north node so that we really fulfill our soul intentions and our soul purpose for this life. And what's so magical is that you have a south node in Capricorn. So this would have been a really responsible past, needing to be responsible, needing to take charge, be financially secure, be in charge of, bringing in financial security for your family, more of that mainstream type consciousness, maybe even working for like a corporation, that kind of environment, being in your divine masculine energies. The north node of the moon in Cancer is asking you, actually, develop your intuition, develop more of your divine feminine energies, nurture yourself, nurture others, because that north node, if you have your birth time correct, this is actually happening in your 10th house of career. So how in your career can you nurture and nourish others? How can you use your intuition? How can you be a light for the earth, a light worker for the earth. That north node is conjunct Sirius A, and I have the beautiful Urania's mirror depiction of where that is on the dog's snout there, the golden star. That's Sirius A. And it is so magnificent. There wasn't enough room in this to put as many pictures as I wanted. Bright, giant blue star. I mean, way bigger than our sun. It's even very intimately connected with our solar system. Some of the ancient yogis said and think that the solar system and Sirius system, are actually rotating around a common point. They're actually in orbit with one another. So Sirius, what is that energy like? Well, it would be very important for you to welcome in this Sirius energy to be supporting you in your evolutionary growth at this time. Sirius has a range of frequencies. It has very highly conscious beings, service to others, loving beings. We're so healing, so very healing and wise and aware, and even exploring connections to ancient Egypt. Often we see connections here, Sirius A, Sirius stars with ancient Egypt. Because in the pyramids, the way they were organized, they were all in sacred geometrical alignments with various stars. And Sirius A was scattered all across Egyptian mythology. So if you're not already interested in or studying Egyptian mythology, learning more about those stories, I would highly recommend checking that out and seeing what kind of insights and revelations may wake up for you. These beings often, with this soul connection, they're so committed to the earth. So it's very likely, again, we saw how busy your chart is. You've incarnated on earth many times. There's this real call to be of service here. Like, you're so committed to making sure this place shapes up, and the vision of new earth and, equality and love and harmony and peace for all, that everybody has food, everybody's taken care of, everybody has a place to live. That's very important to your soul, that the earth kind of gets it together, because there's a deep soul memory for you that it hasn't always been like this. It hasn't always been doom and gloom and war and terror. There's something within you that knows this truth, that the earth has done way better in the past. We've been way more advanced in the past. And you have this opportunity to unlock more of that awareness and harness it consciously in this life. Yeah, let me know how that resonates. And you see the little friend this way. I loved this as the divine feminine aspect of Sirius A. This real connection to the earth, like bringing the heart open and seeing, oh my gosh, it's the entire universe inside. If you feel connected also to like the color blue, this could be why. The color blue could really be very helpful to you. One more thing I got really excited about. I mean, there's so much to be excited about in your chart. That sun in Virgo, beautiful sun in Virgo, is conjunct Regulus, the royal star in the constellation of Leo. How beautiful is that? Oh my gosh. You have this opportunity to shine so much light, like mega light, mega light, mega healing, just tremendous healing energy streaming to you and through you. And in the upper right-hand side, you see the diagram. This is from the starseedsteachable.com course where I got certified with Julia Balaz and the beautiful soul family community there of certified and becoming certified quantum soul guidance, galactic astrology soul reading practitioners. And you see in this diagram that The star Regulus, it's one of the royal stars of Persia, and it's associated with Archangel Raphael, the Watcher of the North, the element of air, and the green ray. So just take that in. You have this ability to really shine your light, the light of your soul, light of this star. You are a channel. You're an embodied channel for this star and for this energy. It just shines through you naturally. So we see in the middle here, one of Diana Cooper's Archangel Oracle cards for Archangel Raphael. Healing and abundance are coming to you. And he's decked out in green, in this beautiful green environment with the magical staff there, his angel wings, beautiful unicorn. I mean, just take that image in and know that this is a part of your core frequency. I'd be curious to know, are you already working with Archangel Raphael? If not, you may want to. Are you already certified or, studying some kind of healing modality? If not, you have a natural healing ability, whether you know it or not. And you can definitely develop that even more because, wow, you are super supported with that. And there's a lot more in your chart that actually points to that too. Again, we're just scratching the surface here. So thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Jane, for being a part of this mini reading. And this is just a little taster of what we discover and uncover about your soul in a full reading. And if you do feel ready and called to receive one of these readings, we go way in depth, way in detail about your soul, answering your most relevant soul questions. My full readings are 40% off right now, only for the first 10 bookings. So I don't know how long this will last. I want to make sure I offer it here to all of you. It will be obvious on my website if that's still going on. So be sure to check that out if you're interested in knowing more about your astrology, your galactic astrology, your soul. And there's a whole description there on my website that tells you more about what we can look at. Because what we covered here today is just a little bit. So I hope you all enjoyed that. Thank you all so much for being here. It feels so good to, be shining my light and sharing my truth and my wisdom and hopefully rising more and more so that my soul family can see me and hear me and embrace me and receive me, because I am here and I am ready to serve. And I am just so truly grateful to be connecting in this way. Thank you so much for your presence, your attention. Aho, amen, namaste, and so it is. Mahalo.